And here in Washington, the work has gone on in earnest as well. People keep commenting to me, you look so tired on TV. I am so tired because we're not sleeping a lot. We're working overtime. Here in Washington, our House committees have continued to conference together and do all the work we can to ensure legislation is ready for the floor for action as soon as we get back to legislative session.
Oh, poor Mike. You look so tired on TV. You're not sleeping a lot? Are you working overtime? Yeah, I bet it is so exhausting protecting those Epstein files. That takes a lot of energy, doesn't it, Mike? All that overtime, making sure nobody gets to see what's in there, really burning that midnight oil on the cover-up. Reminder, Republicans control the House, the Senate, the White House, the Supreme Court. The reason the government is shut down is because they're refusing to show up. I'm going to put a picture up on the screen. And this is largely due to lawmakers on the Republican side being unwilling to agree on whether to keep these extra health insurance subsidies that started in 2021. If and when those subsidies end, about 20 million Americans could see their insurance costs become completely unaffordable. Look at that picture. Okay. And Mike, if you're working so hard, if you're putting in all those extra overtime hours, then why can't you find time in your day to swear in Adelita Grijalva? She won her election in California's 7th congressional district. The people of Arizona voted her in. But you're too tired to do your constitutional duty and seat a duly elected member of Congress. But you've got time to block food assistance for 42 million Americans. You've got time to send $40 billion to Argentina for Trump's dictator buddy and Scott Bessett's Wall Street pals. But you don't have time to swear in a congresswoman who won her election. The same congresswoman who will finally be the deciding vote to release the Epstein files. You seem to have found time to protect Trump and everyone else's pedophile past secrets. Lying is exhausting. Speaking of exhausting, Trump's out here talking again, this time to military, about sending military to more American cities. Let's watch this.
We have cities that are troubled, and we're sending in our National Guard, and if we need more than the National Guard, we'll send more than the National Guard because we're going to have safe cities. We're not going to have people killed in our cities, and whether people like that or not, that's what we're doing. And you've been watching what our missiles do to boats and ships and submarines. How about the submarine? They said, no, that was just fishing. The radical left Democrats said, well, it was a submarine, but they were just fishing. Submarines don't go fishing, do they? You know more about submarines than I do.
I'm sorry, what? We're sending in our National Guard, and we'll be sending more than the National Guard? What's more than the National Guard, Donald? What are you talking about? Active duty military Navy SEALs? Are you planning to deploy submarines to Chicago? Send aircraft carriers to patrol the Great Lakes? What exactly is more than the National Guard? Trump threatening to send in more than the National Guard is a dictator's wet dream. He's not about to give protections to Americans. He doesn't give a single F about protecting Americans. He's talking about invading our cities and attacking us. And if this is making you angry, good. Hit that subscribe button because we need to fight back against fascism together. All right, back to it. And here's the really disturbing part. Trump is saying this from a naval base right now overseas. He's literally standing in front of service members telling them they're going to be deployed against American people in American cities, whether people like it or not. Make no mistake, those rallies with those troops are sinister. I have no doubt that they're being used by this administration to gauge the level of support amongst rank and file for unlawful military action on U.S. streets on American citizens. Can you imagine being those service members standing behind him? You signed up to defend America from foreign threats or have your student loans paid off. And now your commander-in-chief is telling you that you're going to be sent into troubled cities to do what? To do what exactly? Terrorize your own people? We know what Trump means by troubled cities. He means cities with Democratic mayors. He means cities with large Black and Latino populations and cities that didn't vote for him. And if you want to know what that looks like in practice, here's Tom Homan, Trump's border czar, explaining exactly what they're planning on doing.
I think we're not going to be slowed down by any story about changes in leadership. I can tell you that Trump administration is dedicated to achieving a record deportation, vast majority being criminal aliens, making this country safer every day. But as far as personnel changes, that's under the purview of the Secretary of Homeland Security. I met at the White House and worked with people like Stephen Miller, one of the most brilliant people I've ever met, to come up with strategic policies and plans, how to get success, how to maintain success, and how to get the numbers even higher.
Look, Fox News has been.
I think we're not going to be slowed down by any story about changes in leadership. I can tell you that Trump administration is dedicated to achieving a record deportation, vast majority being criminal aliens, making this country safer every day. But as far as personnel changes, that's under the purview of the Secretary of Homeland Security. I met at the White House and worked with people like Stephen Miller, one of the most brilliant people I've ever met, to come up with strategic policies and plans, how to get success, how to maintain success, and how to get the numbers even higher.
Look, Fox News has been...
Ew. First of all, one of the most brilliant people I've ever met, Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller, the guy who literally wrote the family separation policy, the guy who wanted to build a moat filled with alligators at the border, the same guy whose own uncle called him an immigration hypocrite and said he would have turned away his own great-grandparents. The same Stephen Miller who married Katie Miller, who worked for Elon Musk and then started the worst, grossest podcast ever. And now they're crying about being run out of their little $3 million home in Arlington because neighbors scared them away with a little rainbow sidewalk chalk that said immigrants belong here and DEI makes us all better. Cowardly losers. That's who Homan is sitting with in the White House. Coming up with strategic policies and plans. Come on. And did you catch what he said? How to get numbers even higher, not how to make communities safer, not how to improve an immigration system, how to deport and get the deportation numbers higher. They're sitting around brainstorming on how to deport more people. It's a quota system for human suffering. They're gamifying deportation. The reactions online have been, well, let me show you. People are posting this poem. You know what? Let's read it. Let me read it. I'm putting it up on the screen too. First, they came for the communists, and I did not speak because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came out for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. Relating this all back to a post-war confessional piece by a German Lutheran pastor feels pretty spot on. The poem indirectly condemns complicity of German intellectuals and clergy following the Nazis' rise to power and the subsequent incremental purging of their chosen targets. The parallels are paralleling. And honestly, that's exactly where we're at. When you have Tom Homan sitting in the White House with Stephen Miller, whose own family fled persecution, plotting mass deportations and praising it as brilliant, that poem is spot on. And in a lighter tweet, people are also calling Tom Homan Ham Homan now, which I'll show you a picture. I mean, the resemblance, I see it. But this isn't funny. This is a man who's openly bragging about increasing deportation numbers like it's a game. And it makes sense that Tom is so fixated on positioning immigrants as criminals because this administration loves to project. Tom took a $50,000 bribe in a brown paper kava bag and never even denied it. Instead, he's trying to label immigrants as bad, whereas he and Trump, who are actually criminals, he's trying to label themselves as good in comparison. And you know what? Let's sprinkle in some more facts here. According to the data from September of this year, 71.5% of people currently held in a ICE detention center, that's about 42,000 out of 59,000 or so people, have no criminal convictions. None. And many of those people who do have convictions, traffic violations, minor offenses. The focus on criminal aliens is a lie. The vast majority of people, 71.5% of them as of September, that they're detaining are not criminals at all. And further, let's talk about overstaying your visa. Overstaying your visa is the most common way to become undocumented or unauthorized. And this is a civil violation. It is not a criminal offense. It's handled in immigration court, not in criminal court. There's no criminal sentence. It's the equivalent of a parking ticket in terms of legal classifications. But Trump and Homan don't care about that distinction. They're treating civil infractions like violent crimes to justify military occupations in American cities to push a white nationalist agenda. Remember, even if you don't care about immigrants, which is weird, this all comes at a cost. Some reports estimate that ICE's budget is well over $27 billion, but we can't afford to provide low-income, disabled, and elderly folks or families food assistance or free education or universal health care. Come on, these are choices to protect white nationalism and billionaires, which, by the way, you are not. And they're bragging about it. They're bragging about getting the numbers even higher while detaining people who have committed no crimes. It's so dumb. So to recap, Mike Johnson is too tired to swear in a congresswoman, but has plenty of energy to protect those Epstein files. Trump is threatening to deploy more than the National Guard to American cities, speaking from a naval base to gauge military support for domestic operations. And Tom Homan, Homan, is in the White House with Stephen Miller, plotting how to get deportation numbers even higher, even though 71.5% of ICE detainees have no criminal conviction and most violations are civil offenses, equivalent to parking tickets. This is what white nationalism looks like. It's not happening all at once. It's piece by piece, rally by rally, threat by threat. First, they're coming for the immigrants, then they come for the cities, and then they come for anyone who speaks out, anyone who posts a meme to Facebook or dissents. And when they finally come for you, there'll be no one left to speak out. So yeah, Mike Johnson looks tired, but the American people, we're fucking exhausted from watching our democracy get dismantled piece by piece. And if you've enjoyed this video, please take a moment to subscribe. One woman team. I am Lauren P. across all social channels. Cannot grow without your support. We're really trying to get back to where we were before our channel got occupied.